Nike struck absolute gold when they signed Caitlin Clark to an 8-year, $28 million endorsement deal. So why in the world are they ignoring her?
Have you been keeping up with the WNBA drama lately? It's getting pretty intense.
And with that, Nike has not done one thing to promote her. We have not seen any commercials, we have not seen any ads, we have not seen any Caitlin Clark merchandise, and we for sure as hell have not seen any Caitlin Clark signature shoes.
So the current MVP, Aja Wilson, is going through a bit of a slump, and people are talking.
It's like, wow, Caitlin Clark comes out of Iowa, and I started saying after her junior year in college, like, hey, man, she's the biggest star in college sports. And then after what she did at Iowa her senior year, I started saying, hey, I think she's going to be the biggest star in sports.
Remember that Nike ad where she was all about winning? Well, that's kind of biting her back now.
And we've never seen this. This is a woman in America that is going to dwarf the men in terms of popularity and influence, driving. We haven't seen this since Tiger Woods.
Talk about a weird flex, right? So let's chat about what went down with Wilson in that big game against New York. Fourth quarter rolls around and she just vanishes. Only 2 points when her team really needed her to step up. Not exactly MVP material, you know? It's like her whole season just flipped upside down.
The WNBA's never had anything. Nothing. Cheryl Miller couldn't really move the needle. Candace Parker couldn't really move the needle. Now they have this woman.
But wait, it gets juicier. While Wilson's struggling, there's this new kid on the block who's ready to take that MVP crown.
Caitlin Clark is a superstar. Not a female superstar. She is a superstar.
We were coming to see Caitlin Clark play.
She moves the needle. The WNBA has been looking for someone who moves the needle.
You're probably wondering who could possibly challenge the champ, right? Well, buckle up, because we're about to dive into this young player who's shaking things up big time.
And she's made the WNBA relevant. And I'm like, why isn't she being promoted? And how did Nike get her at such a reasonable, wasn't it a 22 or 32?
$28 million
$28
over
million
8 years.
Over 8 years. I'm like, that doesn't add up to me.
Remember when rookies used to just sit back and learn? Yeah, Caitlin Clark didn't get that memo. She's not just playing the game. She's owning it like she's been here for years.
Some of this might be a little bit of revisionist history. Going into we all sat here and argued that she should go back to Iowa.
Yeah.
Because she would die and get swallowed up in the WNBA and everybody would stop watching her. That's when Nike struck.
Want to know what's giving coaches nightmares? It's how Caitlin Clark is totally transforming her team.
I thought like, hey, this will be over with after college, and said so on this show. And my memory, and it could be wrong, but within 72 to what's 72 times 86, 96 hours? Is it 24 times 7 plus 20, 96? Within 4 days, I'm telling you, I think I had pivoted to, I think I
definitely pivoted after the WNBA draft. For sure you were pivoted by then, so it was before there was a game.
Okay.
We've never seen anything like this before. Last year, Indiana Fever was kind of a mess with a 13-27 record. Now, they're on fire. I can't stop watching their games. Clark's not just playing, she's running the show like a pro.
It wasn't a long process of me going, hey, I think this will be over, to, holy cow, this woman's going to be the biggest star in sports, and I'm not Nike. They're experts at this.
Let's zoom in on Caitlin Clark, this rookie sensation who's turning the WNBA upside down. She's not just playing for Indiana Fever. She's changing the whole game.
They were able to see, and again, you weren't around at this time, but it's like when Michael Jordan left North Carolina, it's not just his size that two centers went ahead of him. No one fully understood what he was going to be in the NBA. And there's a guy at Nike that they made the movie about that Matt Damon played or whatever. Sonny Vaccaro. Yeah, Sonny Vaccaro.
Get this, the same team that started off rocky with a 1-7 record is now making everyone sit up and take notice.
Back when Nike stock was around its all-time high, I wrote a 5,000-word essay on the corporation's awkwardly angry play for female customers. At the time I wrote it back in 2021, I couldn't foresee that the mega corp would sign history's biggest women's college basketball phenom in 2022. How fortuitous. I also couldn't foresee that this player would maintain the fame momentum through her interest into the WNBA. where she'd finish all first team as a rookie, and who could have predicted her games would average more than 1 million viewers, contrasted against the games of other players that would register 300K. Road arenas packed where she goes, crowds of girls wearing her jerseys. Nike signed her through 8 years at a cheap rate. You tell me that, and I assume Nike's doing fantastic in 2024 because it sounds like you're describing a billion-dollar athlete who suddenly appeals to previously unreached demos. The apparel behemoth has majority male customers and has long craved similar success with women. Fortunately, they signed the woman to build a brand around.
They were basically at the bottom of the league, just above Washington, who couldn't win a game to save their lives. Did you catch this? The Fever have been in 3 out of 4 TV games this season, pulling in a whopping 1.3 million viewers on average.
It's pretty cool. It's got I feel like it's Fever, but it's also Iowa, so you get the best of both worlds. I have another one that you'll probably see me wear later on that is even more Fever, so just wait for that one. But yeah, you got the yellow. They look a little similar to the Bruce Lees that I wear, but like still different. I like the gold swoosh. It's the black and yellow. You can't go wrong. It's just the best color. Honestly, I didn't design these ones. I just said, yes, I love them. Please give them to me. So they do their job. They do it really well, so they're pretty cool.
His signature shoe in his rookie season. When can we expect yours to come?
I don't make those decisions, so you have to wait and see.
Adidas has been quick to embrace Caitlin Clark, especially with Billie Jean King, a sports icon and Adidas ambassador, recently praising her for an outstanding season and Rookie of the Year win.
If and when Kayla gets her own shoe, can we expect you to wear it?
For sure, anything for C-Squared. She better give me all the colors I want, though.
Has she given you any hints as to what it might be like? Anything?
No, not at all. But I'm sure that when it comes out, she's gonna make sure that we kind of get an experience of it. That's just the kind of person she is. So I can expect once she establishes what she wants to do and how it goes, we'll be one of the first people to see it. I hope.
Clark's taken this underdog team and turned them into serious players.
Aces are the only team that the Fever have not beat yet. Sure. And whether we think that the Aces are as dominant as they were in the past or not, they are still the defending 2-time champs. That is a great measuring stick game. That is a great confidence booster. That is a galvanizer.
And get this, she's leading the league in assists, beating everyone else by 25. For a rookie, that's insane.
Well, the Aces aren't who we thought they were until they get to the playoffs. Like, there's so many other storylines heading into the playoffs now that are pretty interesting with what we are going to see or not see from them.
But Clark's not just about scoring. She's setting up her teammates with these mind-blowing passes.
The Fever have been so fun to watch.
Yes.
They've been so fun to watch because in the beginning of the season, it was, okay, well, we're watching for Caitlin anyway, and we're watching for, her incredible passes and for her logo shots and to see how much more history she makes. But because, to your point, she's elevated the whole team, everybody's playing so incredibly well.
Her court vision is off the charts, like some of the all-time greats. To be honest, I didn't see this coming from her college days.
The people who listen, the people who have watched me cover college women's basketball for the last 3.5 years. I'm a huge Caitlin Clark fan.
Definitely.
I am a huge Caitlin Clark fan, as most of us are. Anyone who likes basketball likes Caitlin Clark. Does she have haters? I'm sure that she does. There isn't a single very famous player walking this earth that does not.
Her court vision is impeccable, and now her teammates are ready to catch the ball. They trust she's going to get it where it needs to be. But y'all,
the Fever are still a young team who, as we mentioned, haven't been in this
they
spot.
look like they grew up right before our eyes.
Yeah, like they're still a young team who is riding so much momentum right now. In any other year, if Caitlin comes right out of college and has the sort of gauntlet run that she's had to have, I would say, yeah, rest her. Get her some. They had the Olympic break. She had a month off, which is a huge part of why you're seeing so much of this team be re-energized too.
Sure, she was a scoring machine, broke all kinds of records, but her passing game, it's next level.
But I think MVP. Now, I'm going to look at this the way I did with Michael Jordan. Now, she's not the Michael Jordan of her sport as far as athleticism, playing, dominating. But A'ja Wilson is the best player in the game.
is this behind the back pass? Come on now. I love it. I love it. And that wasn't just one time. She does that on a frequent and drops it right there. perfect to Aaliyah Boston.
So let me just sprinkle in, because you mentioned AB. 2 of those highlights, I believe, were a Clark-Boston connection. Those 2 have been the second best scoring duo in the league behind Asia Wilson and Jackie Young. It has been so incredibly efficient. The last time we were all together for the show, we talked so much about their pick and roll together. But to me, the numbers bear it out. They've been on terrific tears since the All-Star break. But it also looks like they're playing with joy.
And just for the record, Caitlin isn't much of a defender either. Though she can and she will steal the basketball. She's 15th in the WNBA in steals. Pretty good.
We're discussing passes that can compete with the best in the game, like those from LeBron James. Whether it's a smooth bounce pass or a long throw across the court, Caitlin Clark is demonstrating abilities that are quite exceptional for the WNBA.
Starting to push Asia as the best player in the league, because I don't see anybody control a game the way Caitlin can.
She's definitely a rare talent, one that comes around once in a generation.
I'm sorry. It's gotten to the point where Rookie of the Year is over 2-3 weeks ago. All of a sudden, Caitlin Clark is starting to push Asia Wilson for MVP of this league, and I am not exaggerating.
You might think, what's so special? Many players can pass. That's true, but Caitlin's passing stands out. She doesn't just locate open teammates. She creates scoring opportunities seemingly out of nowhere.
I think that Indiana is a problem. And the way that they are playing as of late, when you look at the numbers of what Caitlin Clark has done, her improvement and how she has adjusted to the speed of the game, and her players have gotten used to playing with her. She knows how to lay it out on a dime.
Her ability to read defenses and make split-second decisions is impressive. It's like she's playing chess while everyone else is stuck on checkers. Now, let's dive into her shooting. Clark can easily sink three-pointers from way beyond the arc. We're not just talking about easy shots. She flicks her wrist and nails shots from the logo without breaking a sweat. What sets her apart is her capacity to shoot from nearly anywhere on the court. Defenders are often left stunned as she sinks shots well beyond the three-point line, forcing teams to completely rethink their defensive strategies. Caitlin Clark is rapidly becoming one of the most thrilling shooters in women's basketball today. When it comes to long-range shots, she has defenders scrambling all over. But what enables her to hit those 35-footers even when a defender is right in her face? Here to explain why Clark's long-range shooting is genuinely groundbreaking. When she starts making those deep shots, it stretches the defense and opens up driving lanes for her teammates. It's like basketball geometry at its best, with Clark orchestrating everything. In her rookie year alone, she has already shattered multiple records. To give you an idea, she averages 19.2 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 8.4 assists per game, shooting 41.7% from the field and 34.4% from three-point range, along with an impressive 90.6% free throw percentage. And get this, she has broken over 60 records. Caitlin Clark is certainly making a significant impact in the league. You might be curious about what makes Caitlin Clark stand out among other skilled players. It's her adaptability. She's not just a shooter or a passer, she's the whole package. Clark can score from anywhere on the court, set up her teammates perfectly, and even grab rebounds when needed. She's like a Swiss Army knife on the court, always ready with the right skills for any situation. Caitlin is getting a lot of buzz lately. Playing with her feels electric. You can sense the excitement she brings to the game. Just being on the court with her opens up so many possibilities. This all-around talent is changing how we view an MVP in the WNBA. She's not just piling up impressive numbers, she's elevating her entire team. The Fever have gone from being overlooked to must-see games, all thanks to her amazing impact. This season, she looks like a whole new player. While others were taking a break during the All-Star festivities, Caitlin was hard at work in the gym, focused on getting better. Now we're seeing those efforts pay off. She's fiercely pursuing that MVP title. Just when everyone thought the MVP race was clear-cut, things got interesting. Is it more about team success or individual achievements? The rivalry between Clark and Asia Wilson has sparked a debate that could change how we define greatness in basketball forever. Wilson has already snagged the MVP award 3 times and was a unanimous choice last time around. What surprised me was that Caitlin Clark ended up 4th. I would have put her second if I had a vote. Honestly, you could make a strong argument for her being number 1. Let's dive into this MVP showdown that everyone is buzzing about. On one side is A'ja Wilson, the reigning champion known for dominating the league. On the other is Caitlin Clark, the rookie who's shaking things up and changing games. But what really defines an MVP in the WNBA? If you believe that teams that take the most open and high percentage shots usually win, then you could argue that Caitlin Clark is currently the best player in the world. Typically, MVPs come from top teams. Makes sense, right? The best player on the best team should be considered most valuable, but Clark is challenging that notion. She's turned the Indiana Fever from last place into playoff contenders, a remarkable turnaround. You might say A'ja Wilson's team is still stronger overall, and you'd be right, but does that automatically make her more valuable? Clark's individual talent is off the charts. She's not just scoring, she's lifting everyone around her with her assists and court vision, fundamentally changing how her team plays. Let's remember, Indiana isn't a big market like New York or LA. It doesn't have that flashy reputation. Yet here we are with the Fever, led by someone who was playing at Iowa and now creating some of the most watched WNBA games in over 2 decades. What does this mean? It suggests that before Caitlin Clark arrived, the WNBA wasn't as popular. This ongoing conversation is prompting the league to rethink what value really means. Is it all about individual stats, team success, or how much a player lifts their teammates? Clark's impact on the Fever is clear. She's not just racking up numbers, she's transforming the team's culture. So A'ja Wilson just had a monster game, scoring 36 points, grabbing 12 boards, and stealing the ball 6 times. She helped the Aces beat the Wings 95-81. It was a huge deal because she became the first player ever in the WNBA to get at least 35 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 steals in one game. And she also became the first player this season to have 2 games with at least 35 points and 5 steals. But here's the thing, Wilson was the MVP last year, and she set the bar really high, but after she struggled in the playoffs, especially in the fourth quarter, people are starting to wonder if she's still the best, especially now that Caitlin Clark is starting to shine. Remember that controversy about the Nike commercial with Wilson? Some players, like Tammy Fagbany, weren't happy about it. It wasn't just a small complaint, it sparked a big conversation among WNBA players outside the US. Remember when Wilson said winning isn't for everyone? Well, those words are coming back to bite her now. It shows how media can change how we see players. When you're winning, bold statements look good, but when you lose, they can be used against you. Just a few weeks ago, Caitlin Clark was named Rookie of the Year, and now she's competing with A'ja Wilson for the MVP title. I'm not kidding. She's making a strong case for being the best player in the league. I haven't seen anyone control a game like she does. Clark isn't just putting up crazy numbers, she's changing the way we talk about who's the best in the WNBA. For years, A'ja Wilson was seen as the top dog, but now that Clark is shining, fans and experts are buzzing about her. It's not just about stats, it's about style and how much a player can help their team. When I watch younger players, whether they're from college or overseas, I'm impressed by their skills, but I'm also looking for their weaknesses so I can beat them in the league. I want to make them doubt themselves. And here's where it gets really exciting. The rivalry between Clark and Wilson is more than just 2 players competing. It's changing how we see the WNBA. We're seeing stories that everyone can get into, from casual fans to die-hard basketball fans. Media coverage is going up, social media is buzzing with every highlight, and finally, the league is getting the attention it deserves. Both Wilson and Clark are dealing with this spotlight in different ways. Wilson is using her recent struggles as motivation to come back strong. She has something to prove. That's what makes great players great. Every year brings new challenges, and A'ja has put a target on her back with her interviews and media presence. Even when critics attack her for things like her logo celebration, she stands her ground on social media. On the other hand, Clark also has a target on her back. Every team brings their best game when they play her. The big question is, can she handle the pressure and keep playing at this amazing level? Fans will be watching closely all season long. Think about it. When was the last time so many people were excited about a WNBA storyline? This kind of energy is exactly what women's basketball needs to get bigger. It's not just about feel-good stories. It's about recognizing the WNBA as a serious league where every game matters. Let's be honest, sports are more fun when there's rivalry. The competition between Caitlin Clark and Aja Wilson isn't just entertaining. It shows us what happens when we embrace that competitive spirit. It proves that women's basketball can be just as exciting and intense as any other sport. On the court, these players are fierce competitors. Off the court, they might be friends. But when the game starts, it's all business. Let's focus on the positives here, not on what could be. The NBA got big thanks to guys like Magic and Bird. The WNBA has a chance to do the same, but it needs to avoid negative talk about its stars. So are we ready to take women's basketball seriously, not just as a side thing, but as a real competitive league? It might feel weird at first, but this could be huge for the WNBA. It's not about hate, it's about making each other better. The MVP race between Wilson and Clark is changing things in the WNBA. Wilson's playoff struggles have given Clark a chance to shine, but what's next? Wilson is a superstar. She's won MVPs and has big sponsorships. She's at her best. However, don't forget about Clark. She's right there in the mix. As the playoffs get hotter, everyone is watching these two stars. Every game could change things. Wilson is trying to stay the queen of the court, while Clark wants to show she's the future of the league. It's not just about numbers anymore. It's about who can perform when it matters most. Right now, we're in a new era of women's basketball thanks to Clark, but we need to be part of the conversation too. We can't ignore what Wilson brings to the table. The rivalry between teams like the Aces and Liberty has a lot of potential, but it's not being used much. Both players are going to be amazing, so here's something to think about. How can we fans help the WNBA celebrate both superstars and team players? It's time to talk about what truly makes a player valuable in today's game. We need to support both individual stars and the teams they play for. We need to talk about the importance of teamwork, leadership, and sportsmanship. We need to appreciate the skill and dedication of these players, both on and off the court. By doing so, we can help the WNBA grow and thrive and show the world that women's basketball is a force to be reckoned with.